Yeah, I'ma kill you in a second if I have to. Use my mind as a weapon when I blast through. Put the basics in the base.
Fellas, welcome. Episode 15 of the PT Performance Podcast. Up on the top this week, we have Nayte. What's up, Nayte?
Episode 15. Good evening, everybody.
Richo, down the bottom this week.
Hey guys, how are you going? Yeah, not a lot. Same old.
No, never. Old and boring.
All right. Episode 15. This one, we decided to bring out the Q&A format again. So we're going to go through a bunch of questions that have popped up reasonably regular between the three of us over the years. Probably some of them even more so more recently. So we're going to cover a couple of questions that get bounced around and give our thoughts or our feedback or our answers on them. So, fellas, let's kick it off with the first one is, what books or podcast would you recommend PTs get into?
Richo, you want to go first? Because I might have different answers.
Okay, yeah. Depends. Again, my thing is find someone that you can align yourself with, roughly what you want to follow, like what your principles are going to be. Like if you want to be powerlifting, don't go listen to CrossFitting podcasts, or figure out who you want to be, what sort of training you want to do, and what you want to learn, and align yourself with that. So for me, it was Westside Barbell. So I obviously listened to the Westside Barbell podcast. To me, also, I want to do a lot of sports stuff. So sports nutrition. So the Sigma Nutrition, I listened to Danny Lennon on that. Then from a mindset, I guess, motivation point of view, I listened to the MFCEO project with Andy Frisella. And I also think just for fitness and for general knowledge and how to win the day and everything, the Tim Ferriss show to just help with your brain is also amazing. I wish I was a good reader, but I read about 10 pages per hour. So to me, a lot of my stuff is audio listening or YouTube watching. So with the people that I like to learn from. So one of the probably the best YouTube channel I've found at the moment, it's actually called Iraqi Nutrition. And he definitely should have thought of a different name before he did that.
Oh, bro.
He actually, IRAKI Nutrition, but he actually has probably the best guests on out of any YouTube channel I've seen. In terms of, I guess, people that I want to align myself with. He just got phenomenal guests, and they all each speak on their specific topic for the 45 minutes to an hour. So if you're not interested in everything, it's sort of pretty easy to see if there's any topics that jump out on you, which ones you can listen to and watch. And then that's it for me from audiobooks and books. But I do have some courses, but I think we're going to do that one.
Yep.
In another question.
Yeah,
but
slow down, bro.
That's me for them.
Fucking chill out and let me talk. You beat me, though. You read 10 pages an hour. I read 10 pages a year. Like I went through a phase of buying all these books, and I don't read. I just don't enjoy it. I don't make the time to do it. It doesn't help me out. I'd rather listen to stuff. As far as the first step, as far as podcasts and stuff, yeah, find something you're interested in. My biggest thing is maybe just download a few to begin with. If you're looking for industry-based podcasts, I actually like the Barbell Shrug stuff a fair while ago, the original Barbell Shrug stuff. MFCEO is good for motivation and everything else. The ATP Science Project, ATP is an Australian supplement brand. Their stuff is amazing. If you're looking to learn more stuff about how the body it's amazing. They're just boring.
I'm sorry, but I know you think they're amazing. But anyone who comes up and in one of their podcasts talk about the evidence that if you wear a wedding ring, it decreases your risk of cancer or whatever. I'm sorry, but I'm never going to listen to your podcast again.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people go full flat Earth, so it's all right. But if I never heard that, but I don't listen to everyone religiously because I find some stuff boring. I will say that I don't have a lot of podcasts at the moment. Once I started to find people who I like to listen to, I would literally just go and search their name and just find what podcast they've been on and specifically listen to that episode. So if you find someone who you like maybe us, maybe you search like Richo's name and he comes up in 10 other podcasts, you can hear him in 10 different formats. That's what I would do after a while, because not one show would give me everything I wanted. Right now, though, the only podcast I listen to is I only listen to stuff that I'm interested in hobby-wise. So all my podcasts are like on UFC stuff, like MMA analysts and finance. I listen to no training podcast or nutrition because I cannot fucking stand to hear it anymore. I'm off all of it at the minute. I just can't.
Roger that. With
Mooney,
podcast, much like you boys, I listen to the MFCEO project. Now, I kind of I get a different spin-off from that show. I don't really, sure there's some motivation aspects to it, but I like listening to it and picking up leadership. I like picking up how to establish and develop culture. There's a lot of what that show in particular, Andy says, that resonates with me, again, being level 39 at the same level. So look at the world in a similar view, albeit I'm without the 150 million a year businesses at the moment. But I just do dig it. I do like looking at the world through his eyes and the way he runs his businesses, because I think that's quite powerful. And the other guys that are connected to that company, I see how they run themselves, and it's the culture he speaks of is evident in what they do. So it's not just a guy saying, this is what will work for me. You can see it in action around other places. So I take leadership and culture engagement from that show more than the rah-rah and the motivation, which is cool. Joe DeFranco's The Industrial Strength. Yeah. I like it because it's very practical on, if you are a trainer, listen and learn and apply. But there's also he brings in some cool guests and some cool business and life-related lessons that are attached to it also. Lewis Howes, every now and again, I'll jump on that if some days I'm like, okay, well, I don't feel like any practical knowledge. I don't feel like leadership or culture or motivation. I might think of something that I probably wouldn't pick up the book and listen to or read or whatever. And I'm like, oh, well, that's the kind of guy who would do that, which might just turn me on for another half hour to something different. Then I'll probably go back to my other things. So much like you said, Richo, I pick my podcasts like what I'm feeling at the time and for delivered by people that I respect or resonate with at some level. With the books, much the same as what Nate said, I don't enjoy flipping through pages. Like, I get it. I understand that it's something that some people don't enjoy squatting, and we tell them they need to. So it is something that I would work on. For me, what it really comes down to is time management between, the business and the job and all the family and all the rest of it. My time is limited, and I feel that if I'm sitting down obsessing or delivering all that time just to read a book, I'm not being as efficient as I need to be. So I go the audiobook route. I have Audible, which is an app or a program. If you guys don't have it, I recommend jump on Audible. I think it's about $20 Australian a month. You get a credit, and with that credit, you can buy whatever book you want and listen to it, and you get to keep it. So I've just got my list out in front of me because in the last 18 months, I've listened to tens of hours, hundreds of hours of shit.
And I think you're probably much the same as me, Mooney. Like, I honestly can't remember the last time I listened to the radio in the car.
Nah.
Like, I don't like to me, my car is where I do all of my audio learning. And if I haven't driven enough for that day, then I'll be audio learning while I'm doing tasks around the home, like the dishes or the washing or stuff like that. So, like, instead of just driving and wasting that time, so I make it like pretty much my car's my education center. Like, that's where I do a lot of my audio listening, my audio books and my podcast listening to while I'm driving. Like while I'm warming up for training, while I'm just all those times where you could be learning and as well as doing like the monotonous tasks that like are really time consuming, but you turn it into a double play.
Yeah, well, I'm fortunate. My commute to work is like 6 minutes. So I use my car for my little clips and videos on there, but much the same. There's definitely tasks in my day that I can do on autopilot while listening. And I do find myself at times whipping the phone out on Notepad and jotting shit down so that when I'm back in front of a desk or a computer, I can leverage that a bit more. But look, I'll spit out, for those that are interested, I'll spit out a couple of books that I recommend. Eric Thomas, The Secret to Success, is really good. If you're into understanding, now you don't have to live and apply these exactly, but the mindset, Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone's another good one. He's got a ton. I'm not going to go through all of them because they're all similar themed, like the 10X rule, but take what you need out of that. There's Stealing Fire. If you guys are ever interested in flow state, understanding how we work on that level, that's a really good book. Sweat Equity. Okay, that's about Wall Street dabbling and now running the fitness industry. I think every PT or fitness industry person really should get into that sweat equity and slug through it. The guy who narrates it has a dull voice, but if you can get through the first half hour, you're into it, and it's pretty intense. I really enjoyed that. Crush It with Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay, that's his first one he did 10 years ago. Talk about prophecy. 10 years ago, he's talking about how to build a brand using social media and turn it into something massive. 10 years ago, guys, that's 2008. Think about what you were thinking about Instagram and Facebook in 2008 and look at it as if you knew what you did today back 10 years ago. That's what he's done. It's amazing. Delivering Happiness and Essentialism are two new books I'm picking up on. The Essentialism I got from the Joe DeFranco book list. Great book. So at the end of this, what I might do is when we put this up on the weekend on YouTube, I'll put a link to those, a list of those books. And boys, you can send me through yours and we can add a list. So we can have a bit of a book list at the bottom of the show when this one goes live on YouTube at the end of the week. But definitely get Audible, guys. $20 a month. It's a ridiculously cheap investment. And you can, I don't know if you can see, but that's a whole bunch that's a whole bunch of books you can tap into at any stage, plug in and go for it.
Sweet.
Righto. Okay, that kind of leads us on. So that's a bit of self-education, which is going to be part of the theme of the next question, which is once you've achieved your Certificate 4, what do we recommend or what do we feel is the best bang for buck or the most important next course, subject, certificate you should look at doing post Certificate 4? We'll start with Nate. You can kick this one off, dude.
I will give two. Two, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
So first one is one I've spoken about before is the guys at Muscle Nerds. So Muscle Nerds, their foundation courses, they basically used to have a level 1 and 2. I'm pretty sure it's just condensed into a foundation course. That pretty much what their courses are is essentially a biology 101 into your cellular structure and gives you some justification behind why you pick certain methods and why you would do certain things. It's pretty much all aimed at Gen Pop. So for 90% of PTs, that's pretty much all of our client base, even if we maybe want athletes. It's a really good place to start and takes your head out of just being dogmatic about some stuff and makes you start to think and use your brain. Luke, who started it with his partner Zoe, now they've got a staff. They go around, they present everywhere. They do literally courses worldwide now. They care a lot. They're very, very smart. Like it's pitiful how dumb we are compared to these people. And they care a lot too. Like they really care about the results they get for people. So Muscle Nerds and any other course they potentially maybe put out. I love those guys. They are very ethical. They're very great people. I would do something by them. The second thing I will recommend is not an actual course. It's actually paid consultations. Like, so Skype consultations.
Yep.
Rather than trying to maybe get stuff for free out of people online, if you have something you want to learn from a certain person, there is potential you can pick up these tips in maybe an hour call. Often via Skype, most of these people will do it, like all the head guys you may see. I've paid, whether it be $100, $200, $300, whatever, just to ask some general questions to these people for an hour, get some good information, kind of bypass a few things, not make a few mistakes, and then move on from there. Actually going straight to the horse's mouth, if they will let you, and asking some questions from there, specific to what you want to learn is good. Awesome. If they've got free material, digest that first, because you don't want to be asking questions. You've got to learn stuff for free.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, man. And that's something that frustrates me when you do jump in these forums and people are asking questions. It's like, don't be a lazy fuck. You can do a lot of the basic early stuff yourself. And then, as you said, you turn up, you know, like if you're in an opportunity to then spend some time and money on someone that's got the extra level, you don't want to waste that time asking basic level stuff you could have found out yourself. So good tip, mate. A lot of people probably wouldn't think that, believe it or not.
Yeah. But just going on that, one of the seminars that Nathan and I actually went to was by the evil genius, Broderick Chavez. And one of the things that he said at the start was, his view of science is that by the end of it, you all work together to be asking better questions. So obviously when you're going to try and learn something, you have questions in your head that you sort of want answered. So if you're going to do that Skype call, like if you want to learn from Joe DeFranco, or you want to have a Skype call with Joe DeFranco, watch all of his shit first. Like, because like Nathan Mooney said, in the free shit, there's probably a lot of the questions that you thought you were going to ask him in the fucking phone call. And then from there, your hour that you spend with him will be asking better questions. So always think, like, what questions do you want answered? Can you find it in the free shit? And if you do, once you know that, it will actually lead you to better questions.
And also just think about it. The guy or girl, 2018, the person that you're asking for this assistance.
Hold on. You missed a lot of other categories.
Yeah.
It's 2018.
We've only got an hour. But, you know, the thing that you're asking the questions of, show them the respect that you've actually taken the time to absorb the stuff they've already put out there before asking them shit. You know, like, depends on how they're wired. They'll take your money and your time anyway, but what would you rather get out of it? Stuff you could then Google in your own time, or some stuff that's next level? So awesome. Richo.
Well, that's it, because you could end up asking them a question that they've already fucking answered for free on 17 different podcasts.
100%, man, and then you just look like a goose. You
just wait for $300 and then you look like a goose.
Well, they call them assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
What do you got, Richo?
Look, it's a hard one, because, again, my thing comes back to find who you want to emulate and see if they have a course, or anyone in that sort of category has a course. So there's a few that have just been popping up at the moment. Like there's one by Eric Helms and the boys there, and Greg Knuckles and that. It's called, I think it's called the SBS Academy. So this has only just started in the last 12 months. So obviously a lot of these courses weren't around when I first started. So like I did the Westside Barbell one, but that's because I was interested in powerlifting and sports performance. So to me, like, if that's the way you want to go, definitely do that. But if you're talking Gen Pop, probably wouldn't do it. Unless you start looking into the conjugate method and you like that, then I would definitely do the Westside Barbell. But again, it's horses for courses. You got to figure out, like, what do you want? Like, what's your beliefs? Like, what are your basic principles that you want to? What's your business model? Training and nutrition around.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to find a nutrition one for a long time, and I've done metabolic precision, which is a variation of, I guess, precision nutrition. I was looking at doing the ISSN one. However, I'm just really not good at taking in information that I read. And unfortunately, the ISSN one is just an enormous book. You read it and then you answer a test. That's, for me, unfortunately, I just can't resonate with that. So Martin McDonald, the guy I've been following quite closely lately and resonate a lot with, actually has Mac Nutrition University. So it's a 12-month course on nutrition. A lot of nutritionists and dietitians and doctors are actually doing his 12-month course and saying that they got more out of that than their dietetics course. So that's what I'm really excited to start, because pretty much the majority of it is lectures. So it's visual. I'm a visual learner. So for me, having someone speak and he has diagrams on the page, and then everything I do is to help also me coach it as well. So I'm about to start that one. So that's what I'm really excited about. The reviews on it are phenomenal. And I feel like that's going to definitely take me to the next level. So Mac Nutrition University, have a look at it, listen to some of it. Again, you've got to resonate with the guy. Like, I'm doing his course because I resonate with him. I like what he says. I believe in a lot of the stuff he says. If you listen to him and you just think he's a fucking wank and you don't resonate with anything that he says and you think that half the shit he said is wrong, don't do his fucking course. Like, find someone else. Find someone who you resonate with, because obviously they align with your beliefs or the principles that you want to have in the style of training that you want to deliver, and do those courses.
Awesome. Man,
that's me.
That's you, Richo?
That's me.
I'm gonna take it back a step, only because it's pretty obvious you boys have been on the tools for so long. I think while they are some good courses people could do right off the bat, I think, and I would highly suggest a couple of those myself. But just also keep in mind, anyone listening to this, have a look at where you're at for your business first and foremost, right? I would also consider things like MyOb to understand how to do basic level bookkeeping. I would also have a look at a small business course to understand what it means to do small business. I would shy away probably too early on anyone that's a specialist social media guru or something like that, because let's face it, it's still such fucking early days that the person who thinks they're a guru probably isn't. I would just be trying to put out basic level content and just be regular at it, and I wouldn't be paying anyone for it just yet. But yeah, so the courses I'd be looking at would be based a lot on your previous experience before you get your Cert IV also. So a friend of mine who's ex-military, similar style of trainer to you in a roundabout way, is Mark Tatnell, Richo.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things that
Tats. Yeah,
one of the things that got Tats to, and I felt it springboarded him and his own self-confidence to go from, oh, I'm a PT because I really like this, but I don't know what to do. He did the CPPS course, the Smithy and Joe DeFranco CPPS. And man, like the turnaround in his business, but also his confidence and his ability to deliver the shit that he knew deep inside was pretty impressive. So CPPS was one there. But yeah, you just got to look at where you're at with your career, where your knowledge base was at prior to doing your Cert IV, and where you're trying to go and in what time frame. So if you can't balance the books, if you can't figure out how to make money, I'd probably be spending $200 and doing a couple of short courses on that first, and then go to, you know, the nutritional and the biological and all the other bits and pieces that will make you a better practitioner once you can actually, you know, make money from it at the same time. So that's my 2 cents on the most important courses to do afterwards. And again, as we said before on the podcast and book thing, let's have a look at how much free shit is out there first. Find what works for you, find what you're interested in, and absorb the shit out of that. And that will probably help you determine or help direct you in what course you should do next anyway. Because you might go into it thinking this, you listen to a couple of people that you like the sound of and they're having some success in what you like to do. And you might go, haven't even considered that part of the business. Haven't even considered that part of my strength. Let's go look at that. So open your mind is probably number one. All right. This one's quite topical. To be a great online personal trainer, do you first need to be a great face-to-face or in-person trainer? I'll start this one off. Because I know you guys have got some flames. Okay, based on current results, do you need to be a great face-to-face trainer to be a great online trainer? The short answer is no, because it's relatively new and we haven't really seen it get pushed and molded and stretched around like most other products out there. My personal belief is that if you want to be around longer than a couple of years as a flash in the pan, then fuck yes, you need to be a great face-to-face, hands-on coach, trainer, specialist, because at some stage, much more, many more people will be. So if all you've got is yourself as your product and your result, that'll get you so far until someone with an equally good product result can do it to many more people, or they've got the hands-on experience outside the norm. Okay. So do I think you need to be a great in-person PT? Yes. Richo, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, unfortunately, with online, it's really fucking how pretty is their fucking head, to be honest. I mean, like, that's
For
the
now.
end of the day. How pretty is their head, and how much drugs are they abusing to have the body that they have to put in their photos? Because, I mean, you look at the people you look at the followings of people that actually know their shit compared to the people who just fucking look good from genetically good fucking face. Congratulations on your face, guys. And smashing drugs. And it's ridiculous. Like, the amount of people that follow people with fantastic rigs with no fucking brains over people who actually know what they're fucking talking about is beyond me. So do you need to be a good online? Do you need to be a good face-to-face? Do you need to even be fucking even know what you're talking about. Fucking no, to be an online trainer. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. Or do I wish that I could say, yes, fucking oath I do. Is that the right answer? Is that the correct answer? It's not, because you don't. You don't need to be a good face-to-face trainer. You don't need to know what you're talking about. All you have to do, because what happens is these people have such a big following. They might have 100, 200, 300,000 followers, right? So they put their program online. They get 10,000 people or 1,000 people sign up. They might get 100 good before and after photos and fuck the other 900. But now they've got, due to numbers, they've got 100 before and after photos. And that's enough for them to show that they know what they're talking about, and which those 100 people would have got results from anyone's program, because it's the first time they've probably stuck to anything in their life before. And now all of a sudden that validates that they know what they're talking about, and then they kick on from there.
Do you see the trend changing? Do you
I
see
don't,
potential for the trend?
because I'm like, when we live in a world where Kylie Jenner, one of those tossers, can Instagram about that, like, does anyone even use Snapchat anymore? And the next day they lose $1.6 billion. Unfortunately, no, I can't see it changing. Unfortunately, I can only see it getting worse, to be honest.
So that's
in the age of drug abuse and Photoshop, I can only see it getting worse.
Nate?
No, but you do have to be a really good communicator, and you have to spend a shit ton of time in the trenches. They're the only two prerequisites, because I know several coaches who are good online coaches, get really good long-term results. Their clients are happy, their clients are healthy, and they haven't trained a person face-to-face. They're just really good communicators. They've spent a lot of time in the trenches, and they know a lot about what they're doing. They just had really good common sense. Now, that's obviously the exception to the rule, but that is the exact model you could follow and be successful.
Yeah. And look, so the one I'm talking about obviously is the mass production one, where people are just going for numbers and they don't actually, all their programs are cookie cutter shit. They don't actually care. There are definitely a lot of good online coaches that may only have somewhere between sort of 40 to 80 clients, and they're delivering a top-notch service. I just feel like anyone who's starting to get above three-figure numbers, I just sort of question the service that they're getting online, and that the actual care, the actual personalization in their program, the actual personalization in their nutrition. But again, that question obviously opens a can of worms for me, because it just depends on, I do know quite a few, especially on the Gold Coast, good personal trainers that only have a small online client base, and they only take a select few because they actually put in, like Nathan Wallace at Hold Your Own, pretty much most of the coaches at Hold Your Own, Nathan Wallace, little Jess Williams down there, the little pocket rocket. Like a lot of those guys only have somewhere between on their books 40 to sort of 70, because they keep that quality control and they actually really give a shit about their clients, and they deliver a phenomenal like online service. But a lot of these guys who do are in it only obviously for the money, have all the templates set up. They just change the names, send them out, and then wait for the 1 out of 100 good before and after photos to post, and that keeps them going.
So let me ask you, let me put a different spin on it, or another spin on it. Think back to how PT was 10 years ago with all-inclusive internet, face-to-face, all that sort of stuff. Fast forward to today. Now fast forward another 10 years from today. Do you think the ones that are empty, that are offering nothing more than a mass-produced number, will still be as successful as, say, more legitimate style coaches with the trenches on, the score on the board from working the trenches, that have now embraced social media, click funnels, automated programming if not the programming, the delivery of? Do you think the thing will change there, that you'll need to be a better quality coach in that environment? Only quality coaches will survive, whether they have only quality coaches will survive. That's my point, is I think right now we're looking at a time where an online PT that's quite savvy on YouTube, social media, all the rest of it, yeah, sure, they're blazing the way, they're killing it, they're doing really good. However, you guys know yourself that the best best cookie cutter program will only go so far. That person then will either have to go look for a new coach to get bigger, better results, or they won't have got the results they wanted and they flop off. That's where I believe, and this is why I'm saying this to all the people that are listening, don't give up thinking that the online coaches are going to be killing it because they've got the good rig and the followers, because eventually that shit will freeze. I'm guaranteeing you. All industries are the same. The empty can makes the most noise, and it's never rung true with the fitness industry. Those that have got the good look but no real content are making lots of noise. I guarantee you, the more and more guys, much like yourselves as well, that are sitting there going, man, it's really uncomfortable for me to do this, but I'm going to start presenting some things like this so more people can see what you're about. The more quality coaches that do that, the better it is, because the empty cans will be drowned out by quality professionals that are coming up and have genuine give a fuck factor about their clients. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Nayte, I mean, I guess, Nayte, you'd almost call you half and half, I guess, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm half and half. I'm half and half organically, though.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
So now if you scale,
it's kind of come about by circumstance more than anything.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, it's got the legs to go further once you figure out how to scale it. Should you want to? You may not want to, but if someone who had a similar organic development as yourself also sat back and went, I've got a friend who does this, I've mastered how to do this, or the online stuff, you could scale it. And you could scale it quite easily, and you'd be a definite and genuine threat to the Insta bodies out there that really haven't got much between them.
For sure. I believe that would more than likely happen, but I have little to no desire to scale it because I love the way that it is, and I don't need to monetize it anymore. There are people who are smarter than me, have probably more passion than me, that want to do more with it, and I wish them all the success. I just want the people that I deal with to be happy, and that's it.
Solid. Well, let's move on to the next one. As a personal trainer, what is the number one piece of kit or equipment you must have on hand?
Richo.
Oh, fuck you. Hey,
I can go first if you want.
You go first.
Yeah, well, it probably used to be something different. Right now, it's a blood pressure monitor. Like, basic, simple, but the amount of people, PTs included, that are walking around with blood pressure that is well above normal is quite concerning. And it's actually, as pink and fairy as it sounds, it causes a massive insurance liability if something goes wrong with a client in the gym and their blood pressure was off. Like, I'm not saying you have to test it every single session, but if you test someone at the start and they're fucking hypertensive and you put them under like a 300 kilo leg press, like just I'm painting stupid scenarios, right? But we learn how to take blood pressure in Cert IV. Mm-hmm. You're allowed to take blood pressure. So people push it off, but more often than not, the most basic of health markers, blood pressure, heart rate, basic aerobic capacity, is giving you a really good idea of where to start stuff for people. And if anybody listens to this wants to have a go with the science, let's fucking go, because I'll go all day. All right.
So, Nate, would you suggest
this shit gets backed up a long?
Would you suggest, with regards to that, looking around and seeing what wearable technologies out there now that enables you to get heart rate, blood pressure, etc. in one, or would you just?
So heart rate's easy to get all the time, but really heart rate, your most reliable readings for absolutely anything are always going to come in the morning. I get not everybody trains their clients always in the morning. You got to take what you can get. But more than likely, if you got someone coming to you at night with mad hypertensive blood pressure, it wasn't amazing in the morning. So you can draw your suspicions. Heart rate and stuff, they're always marking stuff like a Fitbit and everything all good. But for me right now, the blood pressure monitor matters because it's something that I have that they don't.
Yep. Cool.
That's mine.
Blood pressure monitor for Nate. Richo, number one piece of kit.
Yeah, so for me, now that I was obviously thinking on the tools, but out on the floor, but
no, stick with it. What was your first thought? What was your first answer?
For me, it's definitely the Harpened the metal $400+ calipers, skin fold calipers. Just especially with the amount of females that freak out about numbers on the scales. Probably one of the best tools to help keep assure them that everything's going the right way and that the number on the scale is not the be all and end all. And obviously just to monitor how you're tracking with, how my clients are tracking with all their progress and their results. That's probably my go-to. Instead of you can buy them for 25 fucking bucks, the plastic ones. But I mean, if you're serious about your job, like to me, the $400 investment of the metal proper 99.9% accurate calipers is a must.
And you're investing in a better quality spring. You're investing in a better quality scale on the side, like the markings, everything. So the money you save for a plastic one, you might as well not do it. So yeah, it's a good call, man. My one now, again, I'm showing level 39 here. So you could exchange this piece of equipment for more modern versions, but pen and paper. I see a lot of PTs that run their session by memory or by fluking it. Of course, there's apps now that fit on your phone or on an iPad or whatever, and that's cool. If it works for you and you've got a good one, that's cool. My only hesitation, again, in a commercial gym setting, is if I've got a notepad and a pen and I'm recording my client's results, it looks like I'm recording my client's results. If I've got my phone and I'm doing things like this, it can be mistaken that I'm on Facebook while my client's busy training. So an iPad at least probably reduces the risk of it looking like you're just checking your Facebook, but a notepad and pen or the 2018 version of such, I think, is pretty important too. And it does seem to be skipped a lot, and people try to remember the results after the session, but that's not accurate. It's just like having a $40 skin caliper set. It's not accurate.
Yeah.
True.
So that's So there's a couple of good pieces of kit there to get your heads around people. And the good news is they weren't the same. So blood pressure monitor, skin caliper, skin fold calipers, pen and paper. You pretty much build your business on those three things alone.
Definitely.
I got another one here. Now this one, there's a few variables on here and it depends on the business model of the facility you're in and all the rest of it. But I'm going to ask this question more because I think it's more often than not, and I say more often than not, there are exceptions to it, but I think this is ego driven rather than reality driven, this question for most PTs. I'm going to throw it out there. When should a PT consider putting on an employed or subcontracting PT underneath them?
When they want to pull their fucking hair out. No, that's a bad answer. Look, everyone's experience is going to be different. Finding good employees is going to be quite hard to do. When should you consider putting someone under you is when you have gone and sought out the advice from people who've done it before you with their do's and don'ts. When you work out a system and don't do things on the fly, and when you find somebody you think you can not only train, but you think others would be trained by, because those people are a representation of you. And if they are not doing well, it is not their fault, it is your fault. Your business is on the line. You kind of put your big boy girl and pants on. That's the exact reason that I don't want to fucking do it. I just want to stay little old me. So if you boys have got something else to say, then by all means, you probably have more experience than I do.
No, exactly what you said. And I guess it just depends on which way you want your business to go. Like not everyone wants that. I mean, if that's the way you want to go, then that's one option. If you want to do what Nate's sort of done, and he does it, obviously Nate didn't choose this way, it happened upon him, but a lot of people, if they want to make more income, then they do the face-to-face and then they have an online sector, like an online client as well. Or I guess it just depends on, because at the end of the day, people are doing it to make more income. Well, I guess we'll say service more people. I guess it just depends on which way you choose to do that, whether you choose to do it with another trainer on under you, whether you choose to do it online because you can service more people in less time, whether you choose to come out with an ebook series or a video series that you do. I guess you just got to choose what you like to, what resonates with you, which way do you want to go? Because if you think, fuck, I'm busy, how am I going to leverage my time better to make more money? But you just fucking hate the idea of having to deal with an employee and everything like that, then don't do it. Go look at the other options, look at online. But if that's something that resonates with you, then exactly what Nate said from there. You've got to figure out if that's what you want. not because you think that it's the next step once you're busy.
That's great advice, man. It's definitely not the next step, even more so today than before. But I think what it comes down to for a lot of people is that, one, there's a few companies out there that preach this is the next step. So it depends on what your exposure is as a young PT coming up. If you've got a PT job, if you've created a job as a PT, don't even consider it. This is something you need to have a business in play, because it's not that you just want to put an extra person on to take up the slack, because there's so much more involved. Like you mentioned before, it's your business, it's your name that's on the line. So you've got to have your business set up in a way that you can actually just step off completely, knowing well and good that the PT you put on does everything you can do.
Yeah, there are people that fluke this. Assume you're not one of them.
Yeah.
Like just assume you're not, because more than likely you're not. Like the people that I see fluke this, a little bit of luck, a lot of technical expertise that people were kind of willing and patient just to put up with some shit to go through it. Just assume you're not one of them and get some stuff sorted out. And go to someone to learn this stuff from who you respect. You can go to the best business person, that's all well and good. But if I personally, this is a personal thing, if I don't respect the person, unfortunately, I just have to be comfortable with the fact that I'm not going to learn anything from you.
Yep.
There are a couple of people in Sydney who are some great business minds, but one or two of them are the biggest piece of shit humans I've ever met, and I will never be associated with you ever.
Yeah.
Because
And that's
your
knowing
word,
your business.
name, your entire existence is garbage. So I'm not going to even go anywhere near you.
And that's why I started this question with, why are you considering this? If it's ego driven, ego's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. But if you're thinking you need to put a PT below you because you've become too big or too good to serve the clients or to train the clients, it's probably not the right mindset to be in. If you haven't even set your business up as a business, if you can't scale it, even if you don't want to scale it, if you don't know how to, then it's probably not the best thing for you. So for those that are considering putting a PT underneath them as an employee or a subcontractor, first of all, check with your facility. Sounds great in theory, but some facilities just won't have it. And then have a look at your business structure, and then obviously get a legitimate coach who has done it successfully and with the right intention, so that you can make the most of it. Cool. Guys, free floor. Any other questions that we want to hit on today's session?
I think that's some good ones to start. Well, from me anyway, I know I'm pretty good.
I'm done. I think we're there. I think we're sorted.
That's a wrap. Episode 15, guys, as usual. Where can they find us? They can't find Nayte. Nayte's gone on
I'm off.
social media.
Fuck you all. I don't want to talk to Mooney. If you want to get in touch with me, you give him a number or something. It's not happening. I don't want to hear from anybody. You can reach me on Facebook Messenger. That's about it at the moment.
Richo, same place for you.
Dick pics on Instagram.
Same places for me. I haven't changed. I haven't changed.
So the end of this video will show our Insta. It'll even have yours up there, Nayte, but people can get the black screen of death from that. But the other ones will still work. Guys, YouTube goes up each week. We should be able to catch up a couple more episodes on iTunes and Castbox, etc. by the end of this week also. So if you're hanging out for the Audible, the audio version, do that. As I said earlier in the show, I'll get the book list and chuck that on the bottom of the show notes. So if anyone's interested in checking out some titles on Audible, go do that. Fellas, thanks for your time.
Pleasure, as always.
Been a pleasure. All right, lads.
See you next week.